Welcome to the show and welcome to Glow So Bright. Let's go do some more engagement hacking grifting and go and film some more videos from the front seat of my car using my iPhone. They're cheaply made, they're a huge amount of slop, and hey, who cares about good information? Why not when I can just put about 4 or 5 of these a day or a week or so? Who cares? So, I'll go talk about some indications about on if a source on what you call GunTube, especially the format of homemade videos filmed in cars using an iPhone, is reliable, or even better, if it should be avoided. Some traits of unreliable information would be if there is a consistent pattern of contradictory statements related to a particular topic and that any sort of nuance, if on a particular subject, is completely glossed over, or clickbaity titles and topics are used in the video title. For example, to claim that a popular model pistol is unsafe and then claim that it's perfectly fine to carry, especially loaded with a loaded chamber. Or later in the same week, or maybe even the same day, claim that the pistol is unsafe, should not be carried with a loaded chamber, and if doing so, could create a grave risk of bodily danger and harm. Similarly, some sort of nuance that would happen that would make sense, but we're not talking about that. It would be about if a position rapidly changes within a short period of time with the absence of acquiring new information. For example, a justified position would be that an individual would take a brand of products, or a particular brand of products, or a type of product. For example, a certain pattern of AR-15, and if an individual thinks that the product is good under their first impressions of receiving it, and then later on discovers through hard use, through a period of time, whether it be a long period of time or a short period of time, as long as it's documented, that this sort of product, this cheap AR-15 out there, would become inoperable due to poor fit and finish or performing underneath expectations of what it should perform, and then that individual thinks that sort of AR-15 or that sort of brand is subpar, and then documents that sort of experience, then this individual would have reservations on recommending that AR-15 brand. That would be a justified take. While the position of that individual would shift from their initial approval to disapproval in this product or brand, and to document about why their own perspective has changed through their own experiences, and then share that to the audience, it would make sense why that individual would have a different and changing opinion on, say, this brand of products or this type of product. However, what doesn't make sense is to endorse a particular brand, then say that brand is crap, and then say that it's good again, and then say that it's awesome now, even though a significant amount of parts of it are switched out except for a lower receiver, a fire control group, a lower parts kit, and everything else, the upper receiver, the barrel, the bolt, everything else is completely changed, charging handle, and then put a clickbaity article, title on top of that. It would be slop, unreliable, and how it would be classified as classic and textbook engagement hacking grifting. Someone who disseminates information would claim that their own individual pedigree as why they are an authoritative source, and then claim that they are a subject matter expert over something, even as this perceived pedigree is not applicable to the situation. In terms of anecdotes and lessons learned from engaging enemy foot soldiers or insurgents with small arms fire, I'd rather listen to the specialist or lance corporal that has engaged in direct action in a combat situation over, say, for example, the sergeant first class who has not participated in any of these hostilities or actions against a direct enemy foot soldier for, like small arms combat, for example. It doesn't take away from the accomplishments of the individual military service, but is that particular experience and that particular service applicable to the subject on hand? Especially when it shifts over to the context more and more into prepared citizen and civilian logistics, availability, lack of manpower, resources, lack of standardization whatsoever. You cannot say find in a United States Army field manual, for example, like TC 322.9 marksmanship for the M4 and M16. We're talking about low-powered variable optics on a SIG MCX Rattler, for example. One fallacy that can be encountered with these so-called experts would be, I've never encountered something like that personally, nor never heard of it. Therefore, it must not exist. Let's go back to the military pedigree example, for example. A lower enlisted soldier or Marine who has participated in relevant direct combat experience, such as talking about engaging hostile soldiers with small arms fire, may know certain kinds of practices adopted or separated from textbook conventional doctrine, or that sort of doctrine being adapted to the mission and the location and the enemy's actions on hand, or the resources allocated by doctrine to accomplish a certain task, which may not be applicable. A senior non-commissioned officer, if only isolated in garrison, may not view this sort of practice happening and be only isolated in the mindset of training institutions and their own doctrine without any sort of change. Heck, if we're going to go talk about the subject about military firearms, one object that can really help in ergonomics would be rail covers. These are standard issue items. Similarly, fire-resistant gloves, which don't melt and are made out of leather, aramid, or no-mix composite, unlike ones of synthetic materials such as mechanics gloves, for example, let me go back to my own anecdotes. When my Pogue E4S was overseas on a deployment, I used fire-resistant gloves, acquired ordinarily through United States Army clothing and sales. And my service weapon had rail covers. This would help facilitate proficient and safe weapons handling. And while apparently absent in stateside garrison, presumably from these rail covers being pilfered and sold commercially, this practice happened to help facilitate mission success, despite me yet being at the time a non-combat arms lower enlisted individual. Minor details like that show practical experience and nuance in military-related subjects, and are more useful for using that sort of pedigree than using it as a platform for a pissing match. There are other examples I could bring up on why the behaviors on a certain individual or individuals or entities should not be viewed as an authority figure for firearms, military, and other outdoor-related activities. What matters more is that if they display evidence to their claims with a demonstration of it being in practice. Not be inconsistent in their claims even in the same week or even in the same day, and not to just simply ape military doctrine, one for topics that don't exclusively rely on the resources and standardization that a military has. If you want to see my own points on the military use of doctrine for the prepared citizen, look at the video description down below for the related video. So, I implore you all, the audience, please vet your sources and deprioritize looking at individuals who do engagement hacking grifting. While having content be published on a weekly or scheduled basis is in fact good, anything more than that may be an indication of it being sloppy, and as a result, just be nothing full of slop. And information that ultimately is not good, maybe shouldn't be considered for viewing over something more useful. So, on that note, if you do enjoy this video on vetting your sources from a car, on YouTube gun videos, brought to you by Glow So Bright, go ahead, give this video a like. If you don't, give it a dislike. Comment down below on what you think. Read the video description for more relevant information and my Amazon affiliate links and other affiliate links. Or if you want to directly support the channel, I greatly thank you for those who do so. Thank you very much. I'm considering about some sort of prize or something. I'll working on the details for now. But one thing I will not create is a Discord server. I don't want to be liable for any sort of Discord-related activities, to say the least, nor have admins or moderators hijack my platform. But regardless, if you want to check out and financially support the channel directly, check out the Ko-fi and Subscribestar. I greatly thank you very much for that. And regardless of any of that, the best way to show support for the channel is to comment, engage, subscribe, and share. Doing so will help defeat YouTube slot and the engagement hacking grifters. Thank you very much for watching.